Hello, my name is David. I am from Brazil, and I study computer science. Today I want to tell you my story of learning English. You can read and listen with me. Together, we will also discover some techniques to improve English faster. 1 year ago, I traveled to Canada. It was my first time leaving my country. At the airport, people asked me questions in English. I understood a little, but I could not answer well. I felt nervous and shy. At that moment, I decided I must improve my English. When I arrived in Toronto, I joined an English school. My teacher was very kind and friendly. On the first day, she told us something important.
You do not need to study English. You need to use English.
This advice surprised me. I thought English means grammar books and vocabulary lists. But she explained a new technique called immersion learning. It means you try to live in English every day. You listen, you speak, you read, and you think in English. That night I wrote a promise in my notebook: I will live in English. Every day. I tried this method the very next day. At home, I watched English movies with subtitles. On the street, I spoke simple English with shopkeepers. In the evening, I listened to English podcasts. At first it was not easy. Sometimes I felt tired, and I wanted to give up. But slowly, my English started to improve. One day I went to a cafe near my school. I ordered coffee in English. The waiter understood me. I felt proud and happy. It was a small victory, but it gave me confidence.
Confidence grows from small victories.
That evening, I told myself, when you use English in real life, you never forget it. After 1 month, my teacher showed us another technique: shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to a native speaker and copy their voice. She played a short video of a news reporter. We listened carefully and repeated the sentences. At first, I sounded strange. My pronunciation was not smooth. But after some practice, my pronunciation became better. I started shadowing every morning. I listened to weather reports, short speeches, and movie dialogues. I repeated them exactly as I heard them. This exercise trained my mouth to move like a native speaker. Soon, my friends noticed the difference. David, your English sounds much clearer now, they said. That was the moment I truly believed in shadowing.
Shadowing makes your tongue and ear work together.
One day, my classmate from Japan asked, "How can we remember new words?" The teacher smiled and said, "The best way is reading." She told us to read something interesting every day for 20 minutes. Not boring books, something we enjoy, stories, news, or even song lyrics. I followed her advice. I started reading short stories in English. At first, I used children's books because the language was simple. When I found a new word, I checked the dictionary. Soon, I could understand more and more. Reading not only gave me new words, it also showed me how sentences are connected. I saw how verbs worked with nouns, how adjectives described people, and how phrases carried meaning.
Reading builds grammar naturally, not by memorizing rules.
Later, I learned another powerful technique called thinking aloud. It means you speak your thoughts in English, even when you're alone. For example, when I cooked dinner, I said, "I am cutting vegetables." "I am frying onions." When I walked to school, I said, "I see a tall building." "I am crossing the street." At first it felt strange, but soon it became natural. This helped me think faster in English. It stopped me from translating in my head. One day, I met a tourist from Australia. We spoke for 10 minutes. I realized that I was speaking without translation. That was the power of thinking aloud.
Thinking aloud trains the brain to stay in English mode.
Of course, I made many mistakes. Sometimes I used the wrong tense. Sometimes I forgot words in the middle of a sentence. Sometimes people laughed at my pronunciation. At first, I felt embarrassed. But later, I understood something important: mistakes are teachers. Every mistake shows me what to improve. Instead of being afraid, I started to write my mistakes in a notebook. I called it my improvement diary. Each week, I reviewed the diary and tried again. This gave me confidence. I was no longer afraid of speaking. I knew that even mistakes were part of learning.
Yes, mistakes are not failures. They are lessons.
After 3 months, I noticed a big change. I was not afraid to speak anymore. I could talk with new friends from Spain, Italy, and Korea. My English was not perfect, but it was good enough for conversation. At school, we worked in pairs. We asked each other questions about hobbies, family, and culture. I learned that using English with classmates was the fastest way to improve. Sometimes we made mistakes, but we helped each other. I also joined a football team. There were players from many countries: Japan, Russia, Argentina, and Spain. We spoke English on the field. I learned football words like pass, shoot, and goalkeeper. Sport helped me practice English without stress.
Real friendships give you real English.
I wanted to practice even more. So I went to a job center. The lady at the desk told me about part-time jobs for students. She said I could be a cleaner or a waiter in a cafe. I chose the cafe because I wanted to speak English with customers. On my first day, I was nervous. But when I asked, "Would you like coffee or tea?" the customer smiled and answered. I realized that working was also an English lesson. Every day at the cafe, I practiced greetings, questions, and small talk. It was real English, used in real life.
Workplaces are living classrooms.
After some months, I realized that speaking was improving fast, but my writing was still weak. I decided to focus on grammar and writing. I wrote a short diary in English every night. Sometimes just 5 sentences. Today I went to class. I learned a new word. I ate pizza for lunch. I showed my diary to my teacher. She corrected my grammar and explained why. Slowly, my sentences became longer and more correct. Writing gave me another benefit. It helped me organize my thoughts before speaking.
Writing makes your thinking clear and sharp.
After 6 months, my school prepared us for an English exam. We practiced reading tests, listening tasks, and speaking interviews. At first, I was nervous again, but I used all my techniques: immersion, shadowing, reading, thinking aloud, and writing. When the exam day came, I passed with a good score. That success gave me new energy. I realized that learning English is not only about tests, it is about connecting with the world.
A good score is nice, but true learning is communication.
Today, I still follow these techniques. Immersion learning, live in English every day. Shadowing, copy native speakers for pronunciation. Reading, learn new words naturally. Thinking aloud, practice speaking alone. Real life use, join activities, get a job, make friends. Writing diary, improve grammar step by step. In the morning, I shadow for 10 minutes. In the afternoon, I read a short article. In the evening, I think aloud when I cook or walk. And whenever I meet friends, I speak only in English.
That is a strong routine, small steps, every day.
If you want to improve your English, don't only study the language, use it. Every small step will bring you closer to fluency. Start simple, read stories you enjoy, speak aloud, even when no one listens. Copy native speakers with shadowing. And try to live in English every day. This is my story. I hope it inspires you. Thank you for listening.
And remember, the journey never ends. Keep learning, keep speaking.